All right, here we have a little bit of a power function we want to solve for x, and there it is. What makes this kind of tricky is that x is inside of this quantity raised to the 2/3 power. So it's not going to look like most of the equations we're used to handling. We're going to have to be a little bit creative with how we want to solve for this guy. And when I'm looking at this problem, I'm thinking, well, what are the things that stand in my way for this x? Well, I'm being multiplied by 2 for this whole quantity. This whole quantity is being raised to this exponent, and I'm subtracting this -2, or rather I'm subtracting this 2 from x. So all these things need to be handled, and it's very important that we handle them in the right order in order to deal with this type of a problem. So as I'm looking at this, I think the first thing I want to do is I would like to handle just this quantity by itself. So I'm going to divide both sides by a 2 here. So I'll get my x minus 2 all to the 2/3 power, and that's equal to 25. So that's good. Now I've kind of knocked off that 2, and the next thing I want to handle is this exponent of 2/3. So now we need to be a little bit clever. I would like this exponent to equal 1, because then I wouldn't need these parentheses at all, and I could just solve by adding 2 to both sides. So I have to think, I have to kind of recall some exponent properties, where if I take some number, and that number is raised to a power, let's say 2. Let's not use that. Let's use the letter a. If I take the number a and raise it to the n power, and I take this whole quantity and raise it to the m power, we have to remember that when you have a power raised to a power, you multiply the exponent. So this would be an a times n m power. So leveraging that idea, if I take this entire quantity and I raise this to a specific power, I can get these exponents to cancel. So I'm thinking, what do I want to multiply 2/3 by to make that equal a 1? Well, that's going to be 3/2. And whatever you do to one side, you have to do that to the other side. So this is nice. This exponent cancels, and now I have left my x minus 2, and that's really to the first power, so I don't actually need these parentheses here. That's just my x minus 2, and that's going to equal 25 to the 3/2 power. So I'm not quite done. I need to figure out what this 25 to the 3/2 power is. So now I have to apply my rational exponents. 25 to the 3/2 power, remember the numerator is my power and the denominator is my root. So if this is the second root, another way of saying that is it is my square root of 25. I'll figure out what that is, and I'll raise all of that to the third power. So moving right along here, I've got x minus 2. The square root of 25 is 5. 5 to the third power is 125. So that's evaluating 25 to the 3/2 power. Lastly, let's add 2 to both sides. And I'm going to get x equals 127.